There is another world that I don't see every single day, but people are living it, and the people are just the same as me, and they like to dance and they like to sing, and they may eat different food, but this entire world is basically the same at the core, and that's just something that I'm going to take with me the rest of my life.
It's like 47.
I've learned the most about understanding people and understanding yourself.
Going to China!
I just thought we were thoroughly prepared. We had so many faculty. We had 9 different faculty members. We had PhD students. We had staff from all over campus. We had a ton of people within the athletic department. And we also got just amazing contributions from our outgoing seniors, people who weren't even going on the trip.
I think the fact that we were going to China was very obviously intentional and had a lot of weight in that.
I never thought of China as, I thought about it as a foreign country, but to me it was still similar to the United States in a lot of ways because it is such a global superpower in the same way that the US is. So I never really thought that their culture and the way that families were raised and their schooling could be that different from myself and our teams. So it was just really interesting to learn about maybe the different ways people my age were brought up, and then head to China and get to interact with them and see like how that change like impacted their lives.
中国 Fabulous.
So when I say you had a great game, what are you supposed to say?
Nolly nolly.
Yes!
First of all, just learning Mandarin. We were able to say more things than just kind of the basic phrases, which in a few instances really helped and made people appreciate us more.
好啊，安娜，你是加州人吗？加州？
No.
你是加州人吗？不是。你是哪里人？你是哪里人？
Washington人.
华盛顿。
And just made us more, I think, people more excited about that when we were there, that we were able to speak a little bit.
I think our preparation even started like in the fall, so like 7-8 months ago, and like we got like little snippets of what classes we could take and just like a schedule of like what our plan was, whether it was we were meeting with like faculty members or having Mandarin classes, but like we had a schedule and we're planned out that we were gonna really take this trip seriously, like we were gonna learn as much as we could before we went there, so we were gonna be enriched within the culture and like be able to like learn while also understand certain aspects of what we were seeing.
That kind of comprehensive preparation, all the way down to all our language prep, had me feel really good about how ready we were to handle the experience and the responsibility of being sport ambassadors.
So we've just arrived in Chengdu. So when we got off the bus from the airport to the hotel, the Chinese national team was there waiting for us, waving at us. And then we got to watch them do their flag ceremony that they do apparently every Monday morning.
Just seeing the Chinese team standing there when we got off the bus, lined up, ready to shake our hands, that was really, really cool. And it just showed their excitement that we were there, and we were really excited to be there, and that just set the tone for the whole entire trip.
We weren't sure about the place we were staying with the basketball training center for Sichuan Province, and we didn't know what that would be like. We were arriving at 6:30 on a Monday morning, and we knew we had a great relationship with the Chinese national team. But to be with them in China, as opposed to being in California on our turf, to arrive there, we didn't know what that'd be like. And to pull in on the bus after this long trip and to see them out there, 6:30 on a Monday morning in full uniform, lined up to meet us getting off the bus was amazing. And at that point, I knew that all the preparation, that all the challenges that we had met, and the concerns that I had for those 2 weeks there, everything was going to be fine.
If you guys didn't believe me up front about them being ready to go, I think what you saw when they greeted us this morning shows how ready they are, how much they want to prepare for World Championships. So.
It's always fun to play water polo internationally. I've been to a few international tournaments, and it's really cool to see how different other countries play. Just to be in a new environment and new pool, new different refs, different everything, and it's really cool that we played China a few times before.
We are going here to represent Stanford, represent the sport of water polo, in a place where Stanford is looked up to as an absolute top university.
I felt really blessed to have that opportunity to be on this team, surrounded by such amazing girls that are so well-rounded, whether it be in the classroom or in water polo, and just being able to play the sport that I love on a international level and kind of connect with people was really cool.
They're totally just like us, and their day-to-day life is not, at its core, not very different from my day-to-day life, and it's just really, it's an interesting thought to kind of have, where you're hey, I'm sitting here in Stanford, California, 3,000 miles away from these girls, but they're having a very similar daily experience, going to water polo practice, training, going to bed, hanging out with their friends, very similar to what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. And it's realizing that parallel in time it's a very cool feeling. It was Sophie's birthday on our team, and also 2 of the Chinese girls had birthdays that month. And that was a really fun moment, kind of to have a bunch of cakes come out and everyone sing for all 3 girls and kind of just share that moment together. And then seeing those girls kind of put cake on Sophie's face and cake on their face, and everyone just laughing and eating together, I think was a really cool moment. Even though maybe we don't all speak the same language, just being able to kind of share that across cultures was really cool.
One of the things that really stood out to me about this team as a group that is just coming together was how would they be when things are going well? And a lot of times you don't know the answer to that until that critical moment.
New environment, all these things that are different, but what we know is the same. It's the 25 by 20 meters out there. This is what we do, okay? It's why you came to Stanford. It's why you're involved in the sport, for opportunities like this, okay? Let's go out and fight, okay? We know we are at our best when we attack and not retreat.
But in both of our official games in Chengdu, we got down by 4 or 5 goals, and both times we came back. And the first day we came back to force a shootout. The second day we came up just short. But in both cases, they played with a lot of heart when things weren't looking good. And that is something that we felt really great about and proud of as coaches. You stick together and you fight through it. That was really fun to see, an encouraging look into the future.
Having that week of training with them and kind of experiencing just playing and being really, really competitive with each other, and then moving to that clinic where we were able to coach and kind of come together, I think there was just a mutual respect there, where they recognize, like, yeah, like we're water polos and really strong and like competitive and able, and like so are they, and then coming together kind of it was like meeting of the minds almost. It was fun. Like when we were running those clinics and helping with drills and stuff, it was really cool bouncing off ideas off each other and just really like coming together to bring this experience to younger children and really bring up water polo within China.
We did this with kids who didn't speak any English, and to see our women out there embracing that leadership, but also embracing that responsibility of being role models. We always talk about that, but what does it look like? What does it look like when you're here at the pool, when people come to watch us play? But what does it look like at the pool in Chengdu, at the Chengdu University of Traditional Chinese Medicine, where all these Chengdu youth water polo players show up to learn from the Stanford women's water polo team? That was an amazing, amazing experience, and for me, probably the pinnacle of the whole trip.
We were in a Q&A session with children of Chengdu that were 4 years old to like 16 years old. At one point, this little girl asked our team, "Can I go to Stanford?" And that just warmed my heart, and that just sent me back to my childhood and why I started playing water polo, and it allowed me to share like my passion and why I worked so hard to get to this place. And we were able to tell her, yes, you can go to Stanford, you have to work hard, you have to play hard, and you have to study super hard to get to Stanford, but it's absolutely possible, and to just maybe inspire somebody there.
And so it was really cool just to, you know, have a chance to think about, you know, what I would say if I got up there. And when I did get up there, it was about like the life lessons that I've learned and all these things that, you know, your teammates get you through, and just the friendships you make. And like that's what water polo is about, is like taking your competitive drive, taking all these things and working together with people, because that's ultimately going to bring you closer and, you know, success in and out of the pool.
The back side. You can hear me? Yes? Okay. So it's very excited to see you all. And first of all, very, very welcome to Yading. And here is a real Shangri-La.
The very first day when we landed, going to the first temple that we saw, I was just kind of in awe. I had never seen anything close to that in my life, and just kind of feeling the spirituality, and it was just, I was kind of in awe walking in that space. Visited the Tibetan family, and they took us into our home, gave us a bunch of food, and we all kind of sat together.
I'm gonna try one.
Afterwards, when we were dancing with them and listening to music and kind of exchanging songs and dances, I thought that was really, really cool. Seeing some of their traditional dances and singing, and then sharing with them what we do here, and just kind of the common language of music and dance, I thought was really cool, and just like a really fun experience to have with them.
파열지 하니 하초 밝기 처음에 마시 연제초 너위 간소 위 자르셔 니 가위 종라든 비남든 진 빔허다셔
Being in a place like Yading, so we went to the Yading Nature Reserve, and we did some pretty intense hiking, got as high as maybe 16,000 feet. And that was a really new experience for me and for everyone.
We hadn't really done a serious hike yet.
I had no idea how I would respond to that. Had no idea how our team would respond. And we're talking 3,000 or 4,000 foot elevation gains in a couple of hikes back-to-back days. Didn't know how we would do with that.
You walk out of our hotel room and they say, turn right and start walking into that wheat field. And that was just, we were like, what do you mean start walking to the wheat field?
Let's just fall into a place where we don't know. It could be everything we'll ever need. Sink or swim, we'll never have to love alone.
There's like a lot of talk of like the spiritual things behind like the mountains. I could very much feel that there. I'm not a big religious or spiritual person, but I was like, just like being here was, I don't know, mesmerizing. So I'd say awe would describe the second half of the trip, for sure.
This is my goal, to reach the top and do all of this. Like, it's gonna be amazing and beautiful, but just like, I want to prove to myself I can do it. So that moment just kind of stood out to me, because like I was with one of my teammates and we were walking the entire time together, and we just like kept like encouraging each other and doing words of wisdom, being like, all right, like 10 more steps, like take a break. And I just like thought that moment like really showed like what our team was about, like resiliency and just like always putting our head to a goal and like just trying to reach it and not giving up until we do. So like that was memorable for me.
I think a lot of people on our team were genuinely curious and like open to learning about being in this new place.
This trip is a lot bigger than just, you know, going there to play water polo. Like, we're there to make an impact. We're there to share experiences, share what this school, what like these opportunities that we've had have changed us, and I think it was just really cool to be able to share that with a lot of people.
The biggest thing I've learned is just how welcoming a smile is. And I know that sounds really, really simple over all these days, but just walking the streets and smiling at someone and seeing the joy that that brings them is really touching, and it's a really simple tool to be able to use.
Everyone at Stanford is super driven, else they wouldn't be here. Not only are they super passionate themselves, they want to share their passion. So to be able to go to China and share our passion for water polo to inspire their first generation of water polo players is something that just honestly just warms our hearts, and hopefully we can just leave that impact on them for decades to come and kind of help build that foundation for water polo. But just that Stanford mindset of inspiring others is something that absolutely helped us.
This was like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and to be able to like be a part of this team and do all the things we could because we were representing Stanford. That is so special. I'm just super grateful to be a student athlete at Stanford, to have these opportunities that this school provides for us, to be on this team and be in awe every day by like how amazing like my teammates are. This trip was kind of like a snippet of how you should live life, doing everything with your full heart into it.
The reason we took on this trip is because of the uncertainty. And one of the greatest things about sport is everybody spends all their time trying to play the game out in advance. How is this game gonna unfold? And the uncertainty makes people uncomfortable. But for those of us who love sport, we love the uncertainty. And the idea that we truly have to let go of the things we can't control. So even as we may have developed ideas about how this trip would go, the very fact that we had decided to undertake this trip so distinctly different meant there was going to be a ton of uncertainty. So there was really no point in trying to set a lot of expectations. We knew, what can we control? Well, we can learn some Mandarin. We can develop an understanding and context for how these people are going to come across are experiencing their daily life. And if we can have that, we will project respect for them as people. And in return, we'll probably be respected. And if we can do that, if we can accomplish those things, we're going to have the best outcome possible. And that's how the trip came out. It was absolutely the best outcome possible. We did our part preparing. We showed up and we were respectful. And we received that back 10 times over. That's how the trip was different from what we might have hoped it would be. It surpassed those hopes.